Welcome to the clinical cookout. Cookout.
All right, hey y'all, welcome back to the Clinical Cookout. This week our theme is about intimacy, and we got a really good hot sauce for y'all. So let's go on and get into it.
Our hot sauce is when we talk about trending topics and we relate them to mental health. Let's get it.
All right, y'all. So we got a really good hot sauce for y'all today in regards to intimacy, and the question is, if there are intimacy issues between you and your partner, are you willing to teach them, or do you want somebody to come in already knowing all things, an expert? Are you a teachable person? Would you be offended if your partner tried to, tell you you need to work on this, or maybe we could do this, or like how would you feel? So basically, are you teachable? Do you want a partner that already knows everything, or somebody that you have to teach? Are you comfortable teaching? All around teaching your partner about intimacy and what works for you.
I think something that would be helpful for us to answer this question is defining what intimacy is, because some people automatically go straight to sex.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be a different answer if they're thinking more of like emotional intimacy rather than physical.
Mm-hmm. Correct. So there are various types of intimacy. You do have, of course, sexual intimacy is the first thing everybody goes to. And that's also what people think of when they talk about teaching their partner. Like, I got to teach you how to please me. But there's also emotional intimacy. Like, do you have to teach your partner how to love you? Do you have to teach them how you need support? Because everybody needs support differently. There's also intellectual intimacy. Do you want to be with somebody that can't hold an intellectual conversation with you, or does that intellect turn you on? So there's just a lot that goes into different avenues when we talk about intimacy. So not just sex, but anything. Do you want somebody that comes in ready, or that you have to teach?
I don't mind teaching. For me, you don't have to come in 100% ready, because 100% ready for one person doesn't mean 100% ready for me. So you could have had another woman and you were emotionally attuned to her, or intimately attuned to her, and then now you're trying to bring that same stuff to me, and it's different strokes for different folks. So I think as long as you are teachable, then I can teach.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm not solely against teaching somebody. However, if I feel like I got to do the leg work and I feel like this is a job, I'm not doing it. And maybe it's because
I'm not doing it. No, get
I
somebody else.
just I am just so exhausted, and I think the older I get, the more I'm like, really, you ain't been through enough life experiences and to get you where you need to be. I think that there is some aspects of this where I can mold it or have you cater to what I need, yes, but you should have the basics already there. Your kindness should already be there. Your ability to understand or try to understand people or your partner should already be there. You should have already worked through some of this stuff that you got going on, maybe from your past. And sometimes your intimacy deficits don't necessarily have to come from your partner. It could come from your childhood. It could come from your parents. And so if you have not worked through any of that stuff, do not expect for me to clock in to do that for you on my 9 to 5. I have a 9 to 5. I'm not doing it if I got to do too much. I'll give you an outline. That's it.
Not the outline.
The outline. You should the whole lesson. Get the bullet points.
I agree with you, Keish. I think that if you, at least if you have the basics, or like if your character is, as far as like being able to teach someone intimacy, if you are naturally a person who has a big ego and you're not really, willing to kind of give or take, it's all about you, then that's going to be hard to teach that person intimacy, because they're always going to be thinking about themselves and how does this benefit me. Um, but I do think that as long as they have those basics, they're kind, they're compassionate, and they're willing, I'm open to teaching it. I do think that people who have experienced trauma and haven't worked through it, they do have to have those experiences in order to learn intimacy. So, like, yes, you can go to therapy, for your childhood trauma or adult trauma. But if you don't have those actual experiences with people, then it's going to be hard to relearn that, or to even learn how to be intimate again. So just depending on the level of trauma and where they're at in their healing process, I may be willing to kind of go through that with them and teach them how to be intimate again. But if it's up to the point where like they haven't even tried to start healing and it's something that's real recent, that's where I might be like, no, I'm not here for that yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of agree with all of y'all. I don't mind teaching, but you got to come in with the basics, at least at this stage. I think all of us are also speaking from the stage we are in life. Like we are at a stage in life where we too grown, we too old. Like you have to know something. And it's interesting because I'm hearing a lot of people now, well, more so, I've heard this from a lot of women say when they are dating, one of their questions is, have you ever gone to therapy or have you been in therapy? Would you be opposed to it? And it's a lot of women or people in general now who won't date somebody who's never been to therapy or who wouldn't consider going because there are things that everybody needs to work on. And in the area of intimacy, everything that you have gone through impacts your different types of intimacy, everything you've gone through in the past. And for me, the biggest thing is when someone comes into your life and they think they know, like they think they good because every partner before you was cool with it. Like everything somebody else was cool with, I ain't gonna be cool with. So you have to be willing to adjust to me. And that's a matter of, are you teachable? Like you can't come to me and say, well, they ain't have a problem with it before. That's them. I got a problem with it. It don't work for me. So that's my thing. I'm willing to teach, but you can't feel like you already know, like you coming in like an expert. No, you don't. You don't know me.
I also think like the whole going to therapy thing can be weaponized. The whole going to therapy thing can be weaponized. Like I'm noticing a lot of people using terminology or just using things that they don't even understand, and weaponizing therapy has been one of them. So you can go to therapy. That does not mean you've gotten rid of your toxic traits. Because I don't know why you ended therapy. I don't know if you ended therapy because your therapist was ripping you a new one and you didn't like it. Because therapy isn't just about, hey, do this, this, and this. That's not what we do as therapists. We try to help you along the journey so you make your own decisions. And sometimes, even in therapy, some people don't want to make that decision or don't want to get out of the routines and the type of things that they're used to doing because they don't simply want to put in the work. So even if somebody do go to therapy, that doesn't mean that they've gotten rid of all the toxic things that they've, originally went to therapy for.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
Listen, you just slapped on something right then and there. Because I just think, like, who are you to be like, have you gone to therapy? Because if you ain't gone to therapy, I can't be with you. Because, like you said, it could be weaponized. You might be in therapy and might not even be in there doing any of the work.
It's true.
And then you asking somebody else, did you go to therapy? If so, I can't be with you, or I can't be intimate with you, or whatever. And then what makes you think that your level of intimacy is acceptable too? Because some people not only have toxic traits, some people only know how to be in a dysfunctional relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So you could be inviting somebody to your dysfunctionality, even though you in therapy and they've been to therapy. Just because you're in therapy don't mean you're doing good work.
That's true. See, I think for some people that question comes from a place of, have you gone or would you be willing to go, comes from a place of, because I'm not going to be your therapist. I'm your partner. I'm not doing that work for you. Don't come to me with certain things. Yes, I'm your support. And I think a lot of people forget that. They forget that, yes, intimacy involves that emotional bonding and being open and being able to communicate, but your partner is not your therapist. So I think that's what some people getting at. Like, I want to know that you would at least talk to somebody because there's certain things that I'm not helping you process because that's not my title. That's not my role. I can't help you with certain things. And so to kind of wrap us up, when it comes to that level of intimacy with somebody, what are the things we want to talk about? What are the things we want the people to know? How do you increase your intimacy? How do you deal with a traumatic past? How do all these things kind of incorporate into the whole realm of intimacy? And that's what we're going to be talking about in our main dish.